The UK is needing to spend around £68 billion in order to modernise its military. This is according to a highly anticipated strategic defence review, with Prime Minister Keir Starmer stressing the need for strength as a form of deterrence. As part of its overhaul of the sector, the UK government has pledged to boost defence spending to 2.5% of GDP by 2027, with the ambition to raise that figure to 3% by 2034. Keir Starmer's government has also pledged a range of investments following recommendations from the review, including into the country's nuclear warhead program, wrapping up cybersecurity expenditure, and the building of munition factories as well. The UK's review comes as the US President Donald Trump urges fellow NATO members to step up their defence expenditure. But how does the UK compare to the rest of the alliance? Let's take a look. 2024 estimates put the UK third overall in terms of absolute defence expenditure, behind the US and Germany, with Britain spending an estimated 2.3% of GDP on defence last year. This is ahead, of course, of NATO's 2% target. This is not just a recent trend. The UK has historically surpassed NATO's 2% target, exceeding the commitment by a cumulative $64 billion between 2014 and 2024. This is according to numbers from Deutsche Bank. Starmer also outlined the shifting purpose of the UK's military.
We are moving to warfighting readiness as the central purpose of our armed forces. When we are being directly threatened by states with advanced military forces, the most effective way to deter them is to be ready. And frankly, to show them that we're ready, to deliver peace through strength.
And in order to discuss this topic, I'm pleased to introduce Penny Mordaunt, the former UK Defence Secretary. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. First and foremost, I have seen several comments that you've made in the past highlighting the need for the UK to spend more on defence. Therefore, are you pleased with the announcement?
Well, there's good news and bad news. The good news is the authors of this report have stuck to their guns. They've set out what capabilities and step change that Britain needs. The bad news is that the money is not there yet. And normally when you have a defence review of this nature, it is following the spending review. And very unusually, we now have the spending review happening in a few days' time after this announcement. And I'm afraid if the money isn't accompanying this, it's not worth the paper that it's written on. So I'm hoping that the Treasury will come round to the MOD's way of thinking.
The question there, though, is how are we going to fund additional spending on defence? The government has been clear that they're going to stick to the 2.5%. By the next parliament, they are aiming for 3%. But can the UK actually finance this? The Prime Minister himself said that we can't do more than what he has pledged.
So I think we can't afford not to do this. It sounds a massive increase, but in the scheme of the whole budget, it's not. And let's remember, this defence review is supposed to be a NATO first defence review. It's very much focused on that immediate geography, Europe and the High North. And Europe itself, NATO itself, has been talking about the need to move to, in fact, one figure is 3.7%. If it can't make any more efficiency savings through joint procurement. So, I mean, we're a very great distance away from that number at the moment. And if we don't invest in these capabilities, everything else we want to do is vulnerable. Our healthcare service, for example, vulnerable to cyber attack. So it's a complete false economy to say we can't afford to invest in these vital foundational capabilities.